Good day everyone, thank you very much for joining me for this third episode. My name is Trainer Maxim, and today I'm going to tell you about the difference between good mechanics and good technique, because often we use those two terms interchangeably and they differ from one another, and quite significantly. But before I begin, I really want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed for my channel, who watched my videos and tried to implement those tips I was talking about. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate your kind comments, kind words, suggestions for my next videos. It's always a pleasure to see that somebody found your sessions useful. I will try to keep my standards high for my next videos, and I hope they will be of help for you guys and girls. Thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. Now about the difference between good technique and good mechanics. Before that, I want to refresh your memory and tell you that all the movements you produce in your life, whether it's running, walking, bench press, just moving the arm, those movements are stored inside your brain in the compartment called cerebellum and extracted by the motor cortex and premotor cortex. Those instructions are actually the manuals, the books for each movement, in which the brain can find which muscles should be participating in that movement, in which sequence, for how long, with what strength, and etc. In a sense, it's a play for a symphony where the conductor can see that trombone should be playing for 5 seconds, piano for 3 seconds at that level of volume, and etc. So whenever you want to walk, whenever you want to run, the brain needs to know how to run your legs, how to run your arms, how to run your torso, and so on. For that, the brain will instruct the instructions and execute them with help of your muscles. Sometimes with age, those instructions might get corrupted. For example, the brain might lose a page or two from those books, and now when you walk, your spinal muscles are not supporting you properly anymore, or the muscles of the inner thighs are not engaging, therefore not providing the stabilization for the hips. With this, it becomes more challenging with age to implement physical activity, though it's trainable. I talked about this in one of my earliest videos, so you can check it out, please. But it's all fixable. You can easily train that situation and always rewrite those books. You can always make some improvements to those algorithms, though you need to train. Imagine that you go to the gym and you try to do the squats, it's not working, and somebody is telling you, for the successful squats, you need to keep the knees out. You need to make sure that you go down, the knees are going out. So that would be a good representation of the good technique. And it's absolutely correct that the knees must go out. However, the person who is suggesting that might know just that. It's a good suggestion. With this, the squats will be working better. However, that person might not know why exactly. And that why matters. Because if you just know some separate technical cues how to do squats or bench press, like knees out, elbows out, or anything else, they're applicable only to those particular movements. Let's say knee out tip is not applicable for a pistol squat, for one leg squat. It's an excerpt from a book without the context. And that situation creates some complications because your body can produce so many movements, and for each of them you possibly cannot store all those little tips on how to keep your shoulders, how to keep your elbows, and etc. So that typically represent the good technique, good technical aspects. When you bench press, flare your elbows, but not too much at 45. Don't do this, don't do that. We need to watch our good technique. Versus on the other hand, we have good mechanics. When a person goes to the gym and does everything flawlessly without even knowing that his knees must flare or go out, or elbows must be flared at 45. It just happens naturally. And it might happen because that person has actual awareness of the structure of the joints, how the muscles are interacting with the joint structure, what muscles are attached to the joint, how they pull, when they pull, what happens to the bone, and so on and so forth. So that person's action is governed by the solid understanding of the mechanics of the joints. And for that person, it might not be necessary to know that the knees will go out. The fact it will go out on its own due to his knowledge of good body mechanics, and it becomes intuitive for that person to infer how to move your body under that circumstance or another circumstance. And when that person has all that knowledge about the structure of the bones, about the structure of the joints, how they interact, that person can adjust essentially any activity to follow good biomechanics. Whether it's playing football or playing some other sports like hockey, like football, that person can easily infer the correct movements just based on the awareness of the structure of the body, structure of the joint, and etc. And that is the essential difference between good technique and good mechanics. Good technique, it's just the bits and pieces of good mechanics, which you might produce without understanding as to why, versus when you have the understanding of the structure of the body, of the structure of the joint, you can produce very good and very efficient movement just based on that knowledge. In a way, you can compare it to riding a bicycle. If you understand that there are two wheels, there is a chain that connects to the cog wheel, and you push on the pedal, and the pedal rotates the cog wheel, and that rotation transfers from the chain onto the wheels, and you go. You don't have really to learn anything about bicycle. You just hop on it and run. On the other hand, there is an airplane. If I put you or myself in the cockpit, I will not be able to move that airplane because I have no idea about the inners of that airplane, how it works, how it moves, what buttons to press, and etc. And I can be instructed by the tower onto how to move that airplane, but it's going to work only for that specific period of time, and most importantly, it's not going to stay in my brain. I will be not able to memorize those little buttons for a long period of time, and next time you ask me to drive another type of airplane, I will be as good as brand new inside my brain. So that is why, to improve your body mechanics, we really need to try to understand the joints, understand the structure, bones, and etc., so that you go to the gym and there is no other way for you to move your knees rather than knees going slightly rotating and out during the squats, or with the bench press. The elbows will go slightly out with a mild rotation on the way down, with a mild rotation on the way up, and etc. If only you just sit a little class before lifting things, read a little book, read a little article, ask ChatGPT, it's available on the structure. Try to learn what you deal with, because in fairness, the body is the most sophisticated mechanism in the known universe. It's much more complex than your phone, your computer, your car, etc. And yet we expect from the body to be able to move well and efficiently just because we take it for granted. Let's say you get a new laptop and you need to read an instruction on how to use it. Same with the car, same with any piece of appliances you buy from Amazon. It comes with a huge instruction. But the body, no, we expect from the body, you hop into the handstands, you do the handstands and it should work. And you just apply a little technical tip, squeeze the blades. But why do you need to squeeze the blades? Why do you need to tug the rib cage? Why? You know that it should produce better movement, but you don't understand how. Well, the real change comes when you really understand why the chest goes in, why the blades must be squeezed a little bit, not must be squeezed, tilted back, why you need to press tall, and etc. So you can easily infer just based on the good understanding and good knowledge of the structure of the body, how it interacts within itself. Besides, another thing, when sometimes you try to implement those good technical tips, knees out or elbows out, it might be not compatible with your slightly deteriorated algorithm of movement for that activity. Because let's say that squat requires muscle A, B, C, D to work in harness in certain sequence and coordination. But with time, you lost muscle B, and now your algorithm has only A, C, D, E. And with those muscles working, your movement is slightly imperfect. And if you try to bring the knees out with that combination of algorithm, that you might create incompatible situation for the body. You might be trying to push your bone physically into the angle, which is not compatible with the current assembly of muscles at work, because you already lost that B muscle, wherever the muscle it is. Your movement is imperfect and you're trying to push the knee out. You might be complicating things furthermore for the body to implement the squats. And that's why sometimes when those good pieces of advice are being implemented during the bench press or handstands or etc., they don't feel natural. They feel uncomfortable. They might even hurt. They might lead to some strain or overuse or even injury. It's because unconsciously your brain exerted that algorithm for that movement, and that algorithm was not perfect. And now you're trying to land those good technical tips onto the imperfect algorithm for that movement. So now in a way you're creating this civil war. One muscles are at work, you're trying to add another muscle group at work, but that muscle is not really meant to work under the conditions your brain created by using your old algorithm of movement for the handstands or the squats. And in order for that technical tip to work properly, you need to land it on the good algorithm. You need to re-include lost muscle B into that algorithm and make that algorithm more efficient, return it to the state when it was A, B, C, D, E working in harness, and now it will be only natural for the body to engage another F muscle in addition to the muscles of that algorithm. So first we need to polish our movements. We need to rejuvenate our algorithm. We need to improve the algorithm. And all those technical tips you see at the gym, knees out, elbows out, they will be happening on its own based on your good mechanics, based on your understanding of how the body works inside, how the body interacts inside. You will not need to remember that the elbows should be out, because if you don't understand that, you're not going to retain that information, and that information will be absolutely useless for the overhead press, because it's a completely different movement than bench press. Now you will need to acquire some other tips and other tips. No way you can remember those tips, and no way any gymnasts, while performing all those routines on the rings, high bars, can remember all those tips. Keep your knees out, keep your elbows out, keep the spine tucked. It's not happening. During the routine you have no time. You need to remember the sequence of the gymnastics routine, because it's like bobsleigh. You need to go in your mind through the route, left, right, turn, etc. Otherwise, if in addition on top of that you're going to think about where my elbows, is it out, is it in, where my thighs, out, in, it's not going to work. You will fall off the rings, you will fall off the high bars. It's not going to be well coordinated and pretty. So the gymnasts are trying to understand the mechanics of the body, and that's what gymnastics is about. It's an art. In a sense, it is a form of art, because it requires some studying, some education, some understanding, some willingness to learn. It might sound complex, but it's not really that difficult. So now I just want to encourage you to learn a little bit more about the body, so that you understand the inner structures of the body before you try any movements. And once you understood that inner structure of the body, you will be doing the drills, gymnastics drills, which will be reinforcing that understanding, which will be conditioning the brain to use the same new algorithm for the new movement, so that you will not have to be distracted by thinking, where's my elbow, where's my knee. The knee will be in the right place just by implementing that improved algorithm. And with this, you even can teach other people how to do that, because you understand the movements. Versus often some athletes, they can learn a lot of tips or a lot of good techniques, elbows in, but they're not going to work on every person, because every person might have different algorithms for those movements. And for one person, that tip might land favorably on his or her movement execution. For the other person, it's not going to work at all, or maybe never, or maybe even hurt that person, because that person's algorithm might be even more corrupted, more flawed. And if you are unable to adjust that algorithm, then all those technical tips essentially are worthless. they're not going to produce any significant difference. So if you try to learn something new, something you want to achieve shortly, like handstands, like L-sits, like something else, maybe you're trying to improve your boxing or improving your spinal awareness. First, just learn the structure of that joint, learn how it interacts, use some apps, see the pictures of the muscles. When you see the pictures of the muscles, you can understand how they pull on the bones. Maybe talk to some professional and just understand how the muscle pull is happening within that joint. And after that, you go in the gym and you try to implement that movement. Keeping in mind that yes, the knees should go out, but not because you force them there, but because the body, by virtue of using the right algorithm, goes into that position on its own. The knees are rotating properly out, thighs rotating properly out, and going slightly out. Same with the bench press and any other movements. So the message of today's episode is learn about the body more so that you have good mechanics and not good techniques. Good techniques, just tips without understanding. Good mechanics, it's solid understanding of the body movement, the most sophisticated mechanism in the universe. You understand it, you know how to operate it, you pretty much can do any activity in your life you want with efficiency, with strength and less injuries. So try to learn, implement, and if something isn't clear, you can always ask me, you can always watch some videos, you can always do something, but please do not just implement those tips like elbows out, knees out, without knowing why. Always try to learn the reason why the knees are going out, why that part should go there, what forces it there, so that that solid understanding will give you the opportunity to retain that knowledge and improve your current motor algorithms inside your brain. Because in the first place, we're training the brain, not the muscles. Okay, I think now you have pretty good idea about the difference between good mechanics and good techniques. Now go to the gym and try to improve your mechanics and not techniques. Try to learn and implement. Thank you very much for your attention, guys. And girls, if you have anything to say, please drop your comment. Tell me what you think, and I will see you in my next episode. Thank you very much. Trainer Maxim with you. Go enjoy your day. Bye-bye.